Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another edition of TWENTE International with your boy Dimitris Quimtsidis. It's just me, myself, and I tonight, but hopefully with your assistance, we're going to dissect Olympiakos' Europa League match against FC Twente that ended in a goalless draw. But before we get chatting about the game, just a kind reminder to like and subscribe, comment, engage with the page as much as you can. All of your support and any of your support makes all the difference for us. It helps us not only share the word of Olympiacos far and wide to Greeks of the diaspora, but also to non-Greeks who are learning about this giant football club that we all support. Champions of Europe, us, Real Madrid and Atalanta. Don't forget that for this entire year, we are champions of Europe. So your support means the world to us. But not just on social media. Please, if you can, support us on Patreon. From as little as $1, you can get exclusive content. You can join our WhatsApp group, get exclusive interviews. You can even get extra deals on merch. All of this stuff is available via the Patreon, and all your help and all of your support goes back into the page and goes back into TWENTE International, and we wouldn't be where we are without you. So thank you very, very much for all of your support. Now, let's get started. What have we seen? Olympiacos and FC Twente, the Dutch side, currently sitting fifth in the Eredivisie. 0-0, goalless draw. Second in a row for Olympiacos. That's around 230 minutes now without a goal for the Reds. That's quite a long time in the Europa League without a goal in the Europa League. Just making that clear, because thankfully in the Greek League, we have been scoring in the last couple of games. So 0-0, that brings us up to 9 points. 2 wins and 3 draws after 6 games. Firmly in mid-table, firmly in the playoff round that sort of leads to the extra knockout round that you'd get if you finish between 8th and 24th. We're firmly in between that. However, it is starting to get a little bit squeaky bum time, because we are getting closer to that 25th place, or let me rephrase, 25th place is getting slightly closer to us. My understanding is that we're only 3 points above. I mean, the final games are ending right now, so bear with me. I'd have to actually check the league table, the Europa League table, to see how it's looking. But it is it's getting very, very tight around that seeding area between 9th and 24th. I mean, we're 15th with 9 points, and 25th is Braga with 7 points. So it's actually a 2-point difference. So it's a lot closer than we thought. It's actually less than a win difference. So that's definitely a little bit nerve-wracking, especially after those 2 wins against Braga and Malmo. Thought we would have sort of been getting closer to securing that top 24 spot and pushing on for top 8, but it appears not. Now, let's chat a little bit about the game before I get into your comments. Please comment as much as you can. Engage in conversation with me. As you know, as you can see, I'm by myself. So the more you guys comment, the less I'll be chatting to a screen by myself. I'll actually be engaging with you guys. So please comment, and I'll read out as many as I can. But before I jump on that, quickly, let me give you my brief overview of the game. Putting the first 10 minutes to the side, where obviously they won the penalty and Zolakis' incredible save, I thought we were by far the better side. I thought we were the only one of the two sides that actually wanted to play football and win. However, I'm saying that with a bit of trepidation, because even though we seemed like we wanted it a tiny bit more, the urgency again wasn't there, which is the same problem we've had in the last two matches. And if you guys have watched the shows after the last two matches, is what I've really been saying. It was just limited danger, lethargic, not pushing on enough offensively to create what we needed to create to score. But overall, I did think we were the better team. There's many players that I will shout out for either good reasons or bad reasons. We'll get onto that. However, despite being the better team, I really couldn't see us scoring, especially with a missed penalty. I mean, the penalty was the alpha and the omega of the whole game. It was the start and the end. It was the A to Z. I know that TWENTE missed their penalty and they could be saying the same thing. However, our penalty was, in my opinion, what started and ended it all. That goes in, it's a 3-0 win. That doesn't go in, and you have the game that we just experienced, unfortunately. So yeah, that's where I'm at in a very general aspect of what we've just seen of the game. So with that in mind, let's start actually looking at individual players and systems and how it all came about. First of all, I'm going to start with the good stuff that I saw. And the good stuff for me was the Greek youngsters. First of all, Zoulakis, I mean, what can you say about the man? Came in halfway through last year, absolutely bossed it, was crucial in our European triumph. That game against Fenerbahce is going to stay in Olympiakos' lore forever. And Zoulakis' name is tied with that game, the penalty saves. And in my opinion, ever since he came into the side and replaced Paschalakis, he's sort of taken that shirt home and he's proven why he should be the number one. And once again today, saves a penalty, albeit not the best penalty in the world, but he still has to save it. I mean, the penalties are a huge advantage for the attacker, right? So any goalkeeper that saves a penalty, no matter how bad the penalty was, at least in my opinion, is a good save, and kudos to the keeper. So well done to Zoulakis for saving the penalty. And outside of the penalty, I thought he was really calm and collected and sort of assertive in his box and dominated whenever balls were coming in. He was grabbing them, any shots, he was parrying them away or catching them. It was never dangerous. It was never nerve-wracking. He was quick with his distribution, very quick with his distribution, actually wanted to sort of get us going, give us the urgency, which is a little bit worrying. That your keeper needs to do that and get you going, right? Like what's going on with the rest of the team. But it's important in this day and age to have a keeper that's good with his feet, good at distribution, playing fast, and it's really reassuring having a keeper like that underneath your goalposts and sort of feeling secure, which is something that for Olympiacos personally I haven't really had until since Jose Sarr and since Roberto before him. It's not often that we find someone we just go, great, all right, our keeper, perfect, I'm safe with him, I'm done, I don't have to worry about anything. If they score, they score, but I know he is a guarantee where he is. And this is actually Stefanos here. I completely agree with you, mate. He's saying how Zoulakis isn't first choice for the national team is insane. I completely agree. Even though I've been praising Jovanovic for the job that he's done with the Greek national team so far, I really like the majority of his decisions, the way the team is playing and all of that. How Zoulakis is not the first choice for that national team and is behind Vlachodimos, who is not playing and hasn't played football for 2 years. He didn't play at all for Forest last year. I mean, he did a couple of games, but he wasn't a starter for more than a couple of months. And this year for Newcastle, which I don't even know if he's played a game, how he isn't the first choice is genuinely beyond me. So that's one that we have to take up with Jovanovic, because genuinely, I think we're all in shock. Right, let's move away from Zalakis because that was the obvious. Now, two players that for me were our best players were the other two youngsters, the other two Greek youngsters, Mouzakitis and Kostoulas. And if you were in the group chat, if you're in the Patreon group chat, which you can join for as little as $1, shameless plug, you'd see that from the first, probably about the 12th minute, is when I said Mouzakitis, in my opinion, is having a great game. And then it just kept going. And I kept saying, oh my God, okay, Mouzakitis is our best player right now. And then about the 25th minute, I just went, Kostoulas is having a good game. And then it kept getting better. And I was like, shit, Kostoulas is probably our best player right now. And then them two, alongside a couple of others that I'll mention in a bit, but them two were the standouts in my opinion. I thought they were brilliant. That touch from Mouzakitis in about the 15th minute, I apologize for the crudeness of the language that you're about to hear, but that got me hard, man. That was just the way he controlled the ball, and then like it just landed at his feet like as if it was a magnet, and it was just beautiful to watch. Even the commentator was in awe at that touch. The kid's 17 and he plays with such poise. The way he just controlled it and then passed it along to, I think it was Martins on the wing, and the couple of times when he was, first of all, the way he was tackling the ball. I mentioned this in the WhatsApp Patreon group. He looked like the love child of Gattuso and Fabinho. He looked like an incredible number 6, an incredible CDM where he was playing. Seemed like he was everywhere. Nothing was getting past him. And then when the ball was coming into him and he was playing with the ball at his feet, he was very silky, very quick, very smooth, and was beating his opponents. And for a 17-year-old to show that, especially a petite 17-year-old, he's not the biggest of guys, to have that presence, to have that strength, to play like that, both physically and mentally. Fair play. It takes a lot to be like that. And I was really, really, really impressed. Now, second man is Kostoulas. I thought, again, just like with Mouzakitis, he was fearless. He was incredible. I thought he was our one guy offensively with urgency. He was the biggest threat, the most urgency, the guy who was getting the ball and pushing forward and trying to break through and create something himself and sort of do it via sheer will. And he did exactly that in the penalty when he won the penalty. You saw him, he just took the ball and just went bang, straight at them, straight at their throat. Yeah, the penalty, he sort of wins it rather than the defender commits it, if that makes sense, because he's got the defender on his inside, and Kostoulas sort of puts his left leg out, and the defender sort of like tangles with him. So, but that's just quality in my opinion. Like, that's a striker. That's a guy who knows how to put his body to get the best out of that situation. And fair play to him. And yeah, Okabe missed it, but Kostoulas could have given us the game-winning moment. He could have given us the 3 points. So fair play to both him and Mouzakitis. And yes, Kostoulas got tired towards the end of the game, but when he's the one pressing the most, when he's the one with the most energy, it's understandable. So I thought that they were incredible, and I'm very, very happy and very pleased with their performance. And again, Stefanos here in the comments, he goes, Mouzakitis and Kostoulas have zero fear. It's amazing. I completely agree. George here saying, Mouzakitis got 2 yellows from the opponents, right? That's more than enough. I think he did. He definitely got 1 because he got clobbered on one, where he just rolls his defender and he just gets smashed into. I believe he probably got another one. I'm not entirely sure, but it seems about like it makes sense to me. Although Lakis Gavalas here disagrees a little bit with me. He's saying, let's calm down. Mouzakitis is slow and doesn't run in the box, even when there is tons of space. I mean, I disagree on both of those. First of all, I don't think he's slow. I think he was very silky and very quick with his feet today. And you saw it defensively when Retsos did that taf. I don't know how we call that in English. we just call it a miss kick, don't we? When Red Sox did that miss kick in the second half, which completely slices it. I think it was right before Mendilibar decided to take him off. When he absolutely slices it, Muzakidis is the first one. He's the one closest to the defender who runs not the defender, the attacker, the TWENTE attacker. He's the first one that's running with him, and he's the one that puts the attacker under pressure, and he's the one that forces the attacker to mess up that shot. So you can't necessarily say he was slow because he was there with him. And then your second point about him not running into the box. I mean, he's 1 meters, I don't know, 60, 65, and he weighs about 60 kilos. And he plays the number 6 position. What do you expect him? You expect him to be a box-to-box midfielder like Steven Gerrard, who was like double his size, double his weight, and played further forward. I'm not expecting Muzakidis to be running into the box. When you have players like behind El Kabi, when you have Martins, Willian, and Costulas behind him, if you're expecting Muzakidis to be the one running into the box, you should be worried, mate. It's the others that should be in those positions. Muzakidis is there for defensive duties first, and sort of creating and passing it on to the attackers and letting them do their thing afterwards. At least in my opinion. Right. Right. Greek youngsters. Outside of the Greek youngsters, a player that I was particularly happy with, and others in the group chat, this was very torn on the Patreon group chat. So I'm curious to see what you guys say in the comments. But I thought Santiago Heze had a really good game. I thought Santiago Heze, alongside Costulas and Muzakidis, was arguably best outfield player. Not on the same level as Muzakidis and Costulas, but I thought he was a machine. I thought he was very good with his defensive work. He did make a couple of errors with passes a couple of times, so that's why I'm not putting him at the same level as the other two. But he seemed like there were moments where he was everywhere. And this is a bit of a weird one because a lot of people were criticizing him in the Patreon WhatsApp group. But some people were agreeing with me that he was having a good game. So this is one of those that appears to be quite subjective, actually, and not as clear cut as other times when we're talking about Heze, because Heze is one of those players that tends to be complimented a lot by people, and in my opinion, for good reason. I think he deserves it. I think he's crucial to our team. But today seemed like that wasn't the case. So maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments regarding Heze. A lot of talking gets me thirsty. See, Southpaw here agrees with me. He's saying Heze, Costulas, Muzakidis were top. Muzakidis in the first half were top. And then he's talking about he's mentioned a fourth player who is the next player that I want to talk about, and that is Pirola. Pirola was, I thought, very, very good. Excellent defensively. Seemed to be everywhere defensively. He was definitely the better of the two centre-backs. Apologies, Retsos, Ignon Panagiotti, αλλά Pirola was much the calmer, the safer, the more mature of the two, which is bizarre considering Retsos is our captain. Retsos is in his mid-20s and Pirola is 21. I want to say he's 21. I really want to say he's 21, but I could be wrong. I think he's 21. 22. I was close. Do you know what I mean? So the younger player who's new to the team was the more mature of the one, was the calmer of the one, was the more composed of the one, whereas the older one, who is the team captain and has been with the team for many, many years and has played abroad and was one of the biggest signings the Greece has ever exported, was really, how do I put this in a polite way, all over the place. we'll put it all over the place. I don't really want to talk too much about Retos and about the bad things because, yeah, error prone, as Erasmus was saying here, error prone. Right, the thing with Retos, right? He is prone. At least last year, he was prone to red cards and penalties. Right? Apologies, my light is freaking out. It looks like paranormal activity. Bear with me 1 second. Happens sometimes. Retos unfortunately has that in his locker, right? And that's a shame because he puts in some big performances on the majority of occasions, like what George is saying here. Retos has been playing at the top level many games in a row. He is justified to make a mistake. George, I completely agree with you. I that's why I don't want to pick into Retos too much. I think he is. I think he's earned his spot as the main centre back. He deserves the praise that he's getting when he's playing well. However, he has an issue with errors, and he just does. And today we saw that. I mean, put the penalty to the side. That slice is criminal. It's criminal. The way he's going into that is, well, the phrase in Greek is tagari, but in English, what do you call it? Like or kriari. It kind of gives me the vibe of a male goat sometimes. Like the way he's just going into that. Why are you trying to go with all that power and just boot it and risk messing up? Just go, compose, side foot, yeet it in the air, and get back in position. Like that slice for me was, I don't know, it really annoyed me, and I think that's what led to Mendilibar taking him off. Personally, I thought a couple of bad passes, penalty, the slice, and Mendilibar's taking him off. And this leads into the question of what Alexandros is asking here. Give us your best take on why Mendy always substitutes at least one centre back today too. I don't know why he subs centre backs today. My opinion is he took off Retos because he thought he was gonna cause us to concede a goal. Honestly, that's why I thought he did that. It's as simple as that. It's and this is what the others are saying. Spiros here is saying Retos was a danger for us today, as Walter White is saying behind you. Yeah, I'm the danger. There you go. Breaking Bad. I was a big fan when I was younger. And then Erasmus here is saying if he stayed on, we would have conceded, no doubt. I feel like everyone's on the same page on this. Very, very harsh. I don't know if you do that to a player necessarily, a centre back. However, if you're the coach and you're thinking we're about to concede, fair enough. The team's higher than that player's egos. If it's your captain as well, he should be able to suck it up and move on. And Retsos has proven that mentally he has that strength. Mentally, he can get past adversity and deal with it. So I think it's not going to affect him negatively necessarily. And Bubaklis here is saying Retsos after the final, I'm guessing the Conference League final, after the finals top and mistakes can happen, we should not criticize him just because he does not make silly mistakes anymore. I know, I agree. I'm just saying in this game, and he has it in his locker to make errors. That's all. That's why I don't want to go too much into it. Okay, right. Random one. GS isn't Erasmus from the WhatsApp group. Right. GS, I apologize. What is your name? Because I've been assuming you're Erasmus. So please let me know your name so I don't keep going by a different name. Spiros has mentioned here also if he had another yellow card, he wouldn't play against Porto. I'm assuming he's referring to Retsos here. Yep, that could have been on the back of his mind. I just want to go back to a previous comment that I didn't finish replying to. It's this one by Alexandros. Give us your best take on why Mendy always substitutes at least one centre-back today too. I don't think he took out two centre-backs today. I think he brought, I think he brought on Biancone, but he brought him on for Ortega and played Pirola at left back. Yeah, there we go. And now, yeah, okay, sorry. I should have given you an extra 10 seconds to correct the confusion here, Alexander, because you've commented again. And he goes, sorry, not taking out both centre-backs, but he changed the pairing. Mendy never lets two starting centre-backs in the game together. It's so random. Okay, this you're correct on. The centre-back pairing wasn't the same because he changed the centre-back pairing twice because he started with Retos and Pirola. Retos comes off, Carmo comes on. So it's Carmo and Pirola. And then Ortega comes off, Biancone comes on, and he moves, what's his name? Pirola to left back. So, yeah, again, bit of a peculiar one. I don't know why. Why did it feel the need to bring Biancone off and move Pirola to left back? Was Ortega having a bad game? I don't think Ortega was having a bad game. Was Ortega tired? Did he have a niggle, an injury? Not entirely sure. Not entirely sure on that one. So we need to ask Mendy that one, El Profesor. Sanji is saying amazing appearance by Bobby Costulas. Yep, agree. I said that earlier. Very, very impressed. Like you say, back on the youngsters. The point is, both youngsters are good or very good considering their age, but still have a lot of things to add. Yes, obviously, like I'm not saying we have Messi and Ronaldo. I'm just saying that they were the best players on our team today, at least in my opinion. Right, let's move on from the good stuff and briefly talk about the players that slightly disappointed outside of Retzos, where he had those errors. I'm not particularly impressed with our wingers, with Gelson Martins and Willian. I expected more, especially. So this is a weird one because Willian was my favorite transfer of the summer. And that was because last year he had a successful season with Fulham in the Prem. So I was thinking to myself, he's not a coat. He's not Baldo. He's not coming here to collect his retirement paycheck. He's still got something to give. And he showed that last year in the Prem. He hasn't been playing for 3 years in Saudi or China or Uzbekistan, wherever some of the other big names have been playing. He was playing in the Prem. So theoretically, he should still have it. However, injuries, he hasn't really kicked off. However, last couple of games, he's been playing more and more. He started the league game, starts again today. So I'm like, oh, yes, okay. I want to see this. Doesn't perform. However, I'm more disappointed with Martins because Martins has been our biggest offensive spark this season. He's giving us that sort of Brazilian flair with the one-on-ones, beating his opponents, his speed, his craftiness, his silkiness. And today, I thought he was really, really poor. Struggling to beat his opponent. His crosses weren't working. His shots weren't working. Anytime when the ball was coming in from the opposite side and he was going past El Kabi or Costulas or Yaremchuk whenever he came on, or if Yaremchuk was the one bringing the ball in, because sometimes he was the one doing that, and Martins was coming in from the opposite side, there's a couple of times he was the one actually ending up with the ball, and then his either control was bad or he wasn't shooting in time or something. He was just messing up. And I was just like, bro, you're the one who's meant to provide in that situation. And then the final chance that we have, arguably our biggest sort of clear-cut chance outside of the penalty, where he's like sort of clear on goal. He's got the defender on his back and he's towards the corner. He just absolutely slices it. And the shot is so bad that it sort of goes over and round the goal to completely the other side and just misses everyone. And it's like, come on, like, you've been performing so well this year and we sort of expect it to come from you, that threat to come from you. And today it didn't, which is why I'm more disappointed with him than from Willian, because Willian's had a couple of good appearances and cameos recently, but he hasn't been hitting the standards that Martins has, which is why Martin, one I'm more disappointed with because we expect more from him. Whereas Willian, he still has some way to go. So hopefully this was just a blip because like we saw it. He struggled today, and the offense, there was just nothing. There was no creativity, no spark, nothing on offense. And Alkabi was having a bad game. Like when it came down to shooting and when it come down to actually creating opportunities. The only thing that I want to give Alkabi credit for is his hold-up play. There were moments when long balls were coming in, and he was controlling the ball. He was bringing his teammates into play. He was trying to run in behind. He was trying to create chaos. So he was trying to do that stuff, and he was successful sometimes. However, it was more of the end product and more of the round the box work and trying to get that shot off and the passes around the box, which is what I was disappointed with and wasn't happy with. And Stefanos here is asking the question: is Alkabi fatigued? Maybe it looked like it today. It really, really did. He just seemed to be in second gear throughout the entire game. As I said, there were moments where his hold-up play was really, really good, and I praise him for that. But there were other moments where he was just not offering enough. And you want your striker to have that quality up front, and it was lacking today, which is crazy to be saying for someone who scored, I don't know, bloody gazillion goals. I think the commentator said it today, 20 European goals in 24 appearances for Olympiacos in Europe, which is, if that's the stat, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I feel like that's the stat I heard. That is absolute madness of a stat, right? That is insane. 20 and 24 in Europe. Whew. Crazy. And we should have scored the penalties today. That would have been 21 in 25. Like madness. George is saying the same thing about Martins. He's not blaming on fatigue, but he's blaming it on injury. That he's saying Martins' recent injury affected him. He doesn't have good rhythm at the moment. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Just like Alkabi could fatigued, Martins coming back from injury. He hasn't built up fitness yet. He isn't at that level that he needs to be again. Perfectly good explanations, perfectly good excuses. However, I'm just saying that these are some of the players, the big name players that I was expecting more from today, and I didn't see. Now, a player that I was happy with, that I just remembered, and I only remembered because of a comment, and I wanted to actually bring this up, but I forgot to put it down in my notes. But Concept Calcio has reminded me here. Thank you very much. Yaremchuk. Right. So he has commented, Yaremchuk has looked pretty good in recent cameos. Really concerning that we can't seem to score in Europe without Chiquinho causing turnovers. Now, Yaremchuk, in my opinion, had a great cameo, those 7, 10, however many minutes it was. What did he come on? 83rd minute and then 4 minutes of injury time, so about 10 minutes. I thought it was really good. I thought he provided urgency and creativity up front. He seemed to be playing on the wing. He seemed to be playing not behind or next to Alkabi, but playing on sort of the right wing and trying to cross the ball in. But there was a couple of moments where he was running at the defenders. He beat them a couple of times. He was trying to get the ball in. He had one cross that was excellent, and Alkabi just didn't commit. But it was a really good, low, strong cross across the goal. And Alkabi just, if he had thought about that and committed early and gone forwards, that would have been a tap-in. But I was happy with Yaremchuk, and slightly concerned, not concerned, but confused as to why he didn't come on earlier. Like, you're playing at home against Twente, theoretically a game that you should be winning, or at least, going all out to win, and you're not bringing on a second attacker until the 83rd minute. It's just worrying. Like, why? Why are you bringing on Biancone and Costinha and not fucking Yaremchuk? Like, what is that? What is the reasoning behind that? Excuse me, some water. I didn't get that. But when he did come on, I thought Yaremchuk was a most threatening player for those last 10 minutes. So props to him. Hopefully that is followed by a couple of goals to create some confidence and more playing time. I really, really, really hope that happens. And then to Concept Calcio's second point Really concerning that we can't seem to score in Europe without Chiquinho causing turnovers. It's what I've been saying this whole season in Europe, that we perform better as the team that presses, and when we let our opponents have the ball and we steal and we counterpress. We basically score off their errors. And without Chiquinho causing those errors, we saw how little we created today. And it goes back to the tail end of the Conference League last season. Fenerbahce, Villa, Fiorentina. The gegenpressing, the counter-pressing. That is our style of play. When teams like Rangers, Steaua Bucharest, or FSCB, whatever they're called nowadays, and Twente, they come and sit back, we struggle. When teams come to play football, and we can counter-press with players like Chiquinho, who have that energy, with players like Costulas, with players like Horta that we had last year, with players like Heze, with players like Muzakitis that are really good at tackles and stealing the ball back and pressing. Even El Kabi, he is a workhorse up front. It all starts from him. He is great at the press. Having players like that and playing in that system works wonders for us. And we can't do it against teams that come and set up shop and park the bus. And that's I sound like a broken record because I've been saying this since the Rangers game, that it hasn't changed, and we don't seem to be changing. We cannot score. We could have been playing for 10 years or we wouldn't have scored. We just can't create unless it's through that. And that is really, really scaring me. Because you can't play like this. I just can't. I don't see it. And the thing is, this is what, after the Steaua Bucharest game, we were talking about the 3 games that we had remaining. We had Twente, we have Porto away, and Karabakh as well at home. And we were talking about how many points we're going to get, what the final table is going to look like, how many wins we're going to get out of that. And I was saying, do you know what, guys? I think we're going to draw against Twente and Karabakh and beat Porto, just based on how Olympiacos plays and the system that we play. And I went back and read through some of the comments afterwards, and I got crucified. I got crucified for daring to suggest that Olympiacos is not going to beat Twente and Karabakh, who are theoretically worse teams than us, but we're going to beat Porto. Now, the reason why I say Porto suits us more is because of the style of play. Porto are going to come and play football. They're going to have possession. They're going to want to do their own thing. They're not going to come and sit back. We are going to be a lot more successful against that style of play, at least in my opinion. We saw today with Twente that I've been proven right so far. So that's 1 out of 3. I hope I'm right against Porto, because winning there would be huge. And if we take 4 points out of the last 2 games, I think we're good. 13 points should be enough to get us into the top 24 places. But we'll see what happens. And this is what Sanji's saying here. No Chiquinho, no party with Steaua Twente. No pressing. No pressing, no chances. No chances, no goals. Seriously. Like it's the math is mathing. Like it makes sense. This isn't crazy. Like it's kind of screaming that we have an issue with creativity and how it works. Someone said something that I saw. There we go. Here. This is what I wanted to say. So, man like G, because he hasn't told me his name, and it's not Gerasimos, but I don't know what to call him. So I'm just going to call him man like GS, has replied to Stefanos, and he said, I think El Kabi lacks having Pedense and Fortunis. Yes. I think the whole team lacks having that, because they offered that creativity, that they offered that spark that Chelsea Martins offers, that Willian theoretically should be offering, just hasn't really offered it yet. They were 2 players that can create situations by themselves. They can make it happen. And that is lacking. It's clear. And it rubs off on El Kabi and it rubs off on the whole team. Because let's say we're playing against a low block team. like Twente today or Steaua or Rangers or whatever, if you can't unlock their defense by gegenpressing, and you don't have players like Potenza and Fortunis, then where's it going to come from? That's my issue. Where is it going to come from? That's it. That's the thing. Southpaw saying there was pressing tonight, but it wasn't effective. But yeah, it's not just that it wasn't effective enough. The way to press against a team like that, it's just not going to work because they're not committing enough players forward. Twente weren't going to be like, oh, we're going to thrash Olympiacos, we're going to try and score 3. They were going, oh, if we get the chance, we're going to try and score. But that's not what our press is against. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, we've got it. We have got it. The big revelation. Man like GS, his name is George. Right. Yorgo, George, Giorgio, Jorgen. Thank you for revealing your true name. Apologies for calling you Gerasimos earlier. The only real Gerasimos is Gerasimos official, just like Stefano has said here. Right. Back to talking points. Where were we? Actually, before I go back to my talking points, let me go through some of the comments that I might have missed, just because I did promise I'm going to go and try and talk to as many as I can. Right, where were we? I'm reading here. Oh, wow. This is quite a stat from AB. The story of this season is that we're tied for 3rd lowest goals scored in the competition, but are also 2nd in least amount of goals conceded. That is an insane stat. Who would have thought, if you had told me this last year, that Olympiacos would be 2nd place for the least amount of goals conceded in Europe? I'd be like, you're crazy. After the stuff we saw last year, towards, especially in the group stages, and then the first knockout match against Maccabi, and then to be fair, even in the against Fenerbahce, the 3-2, conceded 2 there, we conceded 1 in Turkey. Villa, we conceded 2 at Villa, and now we've conceded what? We've conceded 2 against Lyon and 1 against Rangers. We conceded 3 goals. That's insane. Who would have believed that? But this is what I mean. Outside of Eretsos's occasional errors, which so far haven't really cost us this season, our defense is looking solid. Like we know what we're getting. We have 2 great right backs. We have 1 decent left back, and we have 3 great centre backs in Retsos, Pirola, and Carmo. So that is bizarre. I never would have believed that if I hadn't seen that. Wow, fair enough. Okay, right. Here, Gerasimos is saying it's more likely we don't score versus Porto. We can go 500 more minutes and not score like this. I think we're going to see a different situation against Porto. Hopefully I'm right, but I could see us actually nicking that just because of what I've been saying about the press and the way we've been playing. Concept Cal show here. Twente, in fairness, did have that Dutch composure to play out from the back. Press wasn't intense enough. Yes, I agree, but they weren't playing with I don't think they were playing with that urgency. They were coming out the back, really controlled and really calm, but they weren't like actually trying to create something really, really, really dangerous when they were playing out the back, at least in my opinion. Sunji here, and especially in the next phase where 7 or 8 strong teams from Europe will not qualify like last year. I don't know what he's talking about. I think it has to do with his previous comment. Sorry, I think he split his comments between 2. He's saying Olympiacos is true. Europa Conference League was 5 levels above. And then he goes, and especially in the next phase where 7 or 8 strong teams from Europe will not qualify like last year. As in like teams that drop down from the Europa League to conference. I'm not entirely sure. Not entirely sure where he's going with that. Sorry. Feel free to explain in another comment. Gerasimos here saying if we started Costinha and Rodinei on the right, we probably steal a win, but the problems remain regardless. Are you talking about today or are you talking about Porto next week? Because starting Rodinei and Costinha today would not have led to us winning. No way. You could have started Lionel Messi. Wouldn't have won. Actually, I take that back. We would have won with Messi, but you know what I mean. George here saying, man like GS. I thought TWENTE looked really good in the first half, aggressive with a high press. I disagree. I thought after the first 10 minutes, we were all over them. I thought we were much the better side. And then in the second half, which is what you're saying here, second half was a completely different story. Second half, they stopped playing. First half, they tried to play, but I thought we were better. Second half, they just didn't play, which just dropped our level down as well, and it just wasn't good enough, in my opinion. Right, we've just gone past 45 minutes. So with that in mind, before I move on to close up with man of the match and coach's grade, seeing as I'm by myself, and my tongue is tired of talking, I just want to remind you guys to please like and subscribe. There's about 150 of you watching right now. There's, I'm sure, many more that have come through tonight. So please like and subscribe. Your support means the world to us, and it really helps us spread the word of 307 International and Olympiacos in general throughout the world. So please, it takes a second. Just like the video on YouTube, comment, subscribe, like our posts on social media. It's as simple as that. Tell your friends, tell your family members, tell your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your aunts and uncles, your teachers, your professors, everyone, your work colleagues. Get everyone involved. The more the merrier. And if you can, we'd appreciate any support on Patreon. It makes all the difference in the world. And even as little as $1 helps us create an even better product for you guys. All of the proceeds go back into improving 307 International and doing what we can to keep you up to date with all things Olympiacos. Right. I am going to move on to man of the match and coach's grade. And after I do that, I'm going to give all of you one last opportunity to hit me with some comments that I'm going to answer before I close out. But man of the match and coach's grade. Now, if you were here about an hour ago when I started the video, you'll know that two players really stood out for me based on today's performance. And those are the two Greek youngsters, Mouzakitis and Kostoulas. I struggled. I am still struggling. This is actually a flip of a coin. I'm really not sure who to give it to. I was leaning towards Mouzakitis based on his defensive abilities today and how he was just always seemed to be there. But as the game progressed, I think Kostoulas sort of was a one-man team up front. It was the only one creating and trying to create, and he won the penalty. So I'm going to go with Kostoulas. But Mouzakitis and obviously Zoulakis were very close behind. The only reason why I'm not giving it to Zoulakis is because outside of the penalty, which was obviously very important, he didn't have much to do. He was, as I said earlier, commanding and calm and a good presence and try to play fast and create opportunity for us. But I think Kostoulas, for me, really impressed me. I was watching. If my gut is telling me Kostoulas, then I have to go Kostoulas. I'm sorry if anyone disagrees with me. And coach's grade. Now this is even harder. Where do we go with coach's grade? Because I'm trying to think what I gave him the last two European games that was sort of similar, and I feel like I'm going to have to go the same. I feel like I can't. The thing is, we're not losing games, right? Which is annoying. Not annoying, which makes it harder for me to give a bad grade because we're not losing games. And because, as pointed above, we have the second best defensive record in the Europa League. However, Rangers, Steaua, and tonight was lethargic, slow, not enough urgency, and no plan B to a team that sits back, and just no creativity. And my worry is Mendilibar is not showing me or showing us that he has a plan B, that he's giving us something else, that he's creating, he's teaching this game he's teaching these players to change up their game. Now, with that in mind, and with the fact that I wasn't happy with the substitutions, which I'll go into in a second, and the way that they happened, I'm going to get crucified for this. I'm going to give him a D. But I'll explain why I'm so harsh. Because C is a passing grade, right? C is like, A is like, brilliant, fantastic. A is like, you've just won the game comprehensively. A B is like, you've scraped the game, but like, we'll take that. Thank God we won. A C is like, okay, we were lucky to get whatever we did. We weren't the best. We had some good bits, but some others were bad. A D is when you're expecting to win the game and you're not playing up to standard, and it doesn't seem like you were going to win the game at any point. Simple as that. And that's what I have to give it. That's the reason why I'm giving it to him. There was no plan B. At no point did it seem like we were going to score or win the game. It's been like this for the last 3 European games. And the subs, man. Right, this is everyone in the WhatsApp group. The minute he made that substitution with Retsos and Carmo, everyone was like, what the fuck is this substitution? I get that he was worried about Retsos, that maybe he could cause us a goal or yellow cards or whatever. But you're chasing a win here. Why are you subbing centre backs as your first sub? Big man, bring an offensive player on. We need to be winning these home games against Rangers at Twente. Like, these are teams you should be beating in Europe. Like, you really should be beating these teams in Europe. And then it kills me because then he brings on Costinha again, another defender, and then he brings on Biancone. 3 out of 5 substitutions were defenders. They were defenders. Like, people in the comments here are saying that the Carmo sub made sense to me because of build-up play, and Dimitri here saying Carmo develops the game better from the back. Okay. Do you need your centre-back to be doing that for you? Or what about bringing in a striker or a midfielder at the same time as well? Like, you can't just be... whatever Carmo brings, you cannot be chasing the game and going, do you know what? My centre-back's going to solve this for me. Yeah. You can do, I'm going to bring in my centre-back and bring in this offensive player and this offensive player as well. But you can't just go, oh, I'm going to bring on my centre-back. That's going to win me the game. Who's your centre-back? Van Dijk. It just doesn't, it's not that, it's just, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. And then how late he was with bringing on Yaremchuk is beyond me. He brought him on the 83rd minute. Like, why are you bringing on Yaremchuk in the 83rd minute when you're chasing a goal, and then ends up actually being playing really well? And how the fuck is Martins making it to the end of the game? How is Martins playing the whole game? Like, what is going on there? He had a shocker. I would have rather kept Costulas on, even if he was tired, because Costulas at least was offering something. Martins wasn't offering anything. So to recap, the reason why I gave him a bad grade, reason why I gave him a D: no plan B, lethargic, no creativity, same thing that we've been seeing the last three games, and substitutions, both wrong in my opinion and too late. So, right. There we go with that. I'm going to give you an opportunity I'm going to answer some of the final questions, and then we'll close up. So Rolf is here saying you shouldn't have to count on your centre back for it, but if that's a situation, that's a situation. Yeah, he's basically agreeing with what I was saying earlier. We shouldn't be counting on Carmo to provide that offensive spark. We just shouldn't. And I don't agree that if that's a situation, that's a situation, because we have players on the bench that are offensive, even if they're not playing fantastically, they haven't been playing much. You cannot be going, yes, I'm going to score, so I'm going to bring my centre back on. It doesn't work like that. At least in my opinion. Mikhail is saying Rezzo sub was because of cards. One more and he will lose Porto. Yeah, okay, but still, you trust your captain not to get another yellow card. At least, my opinion. Man like GS here saying, I think it's a matter of literally clutching at straws. We have no options up front, wingers and center attacker midfielders. Yaramchuk and Velde. There you go. That's two players. Velde didn't even come on. Why didn't Velde come on? Like, you need a goal. Bring on some fresh legs. Masuras as well. There you go, 3. Or is he injured? No, Masuras should be fine, I think. I don't think Masuras is injured. There's 3 players right there. Did Velde and Masuras even warm up? I swear Velde didn't even warm up. I didn't even see him. And then, right, this is a comment in Greek that I'm going to translate from Vicky. And Vicky is saying, I'll read it in Greek and then I'll translate it. Και τι πρέπει τώρα να πω εγώ, να συμφωνήσω? Όχι, δεν το κάνω. Είναι η ομαδάρα. Στα παιχνίδια υπάρχουν και ήττες. Κουρασμένοι ήταν έτσι απλά. Θρύλες αγαπώ, ούτως ή άλλως. What can I say? I'm not going to agree. The team's a team. How do we translate omadara? Like a great team in Greek. In games, there are defeats sometimes too. They were tired, and it's as simple as that. Thriller, I love you, no matter what. Yeah, I'm going to say it in Greek and then I'm translate it in English, just in case Vicky prefers Greek. Vicky, συμφωνώ μαζί σου ότι τον Ολυμπιακό τον αγαπάμε ό,τι και να γίνει. Ο Ολυμπιακός πάνω απ' όλα και πάντα έχει την αγάπη μας και την υπεράσπιση μας και το support μας. Αλλά το ότι δεν μπορούμε να λέμε ότι η ομάδα ήταν απλά κουρασμένη. Εντάξει, δηλαδή, εδώ και 3 μάτς η ομάδα είναι κακιά στην Ευρώπη. Δυστυχώς δεν έχει πλάν Β, ένα δεύτερο πλάνο για το τι θα γίνει και δεν μπορούμε να σπάσουμε αυτές τις μικρές άμυνες. Είναι αυτό που έλεγα σε όλο το show. Δυστυχώς έτσι είναι τα πράγματα αυτή τη στιγμή. And now just to translate that in English, following on from Vicky's comments, I disagree that we can just blame this on tiredness. I agree that Olympiacos obviously is above everything and we love and support the team no matter what. However, we can't just blame it on tiredness. The team has been struggling for 3 European games due to the reasons I've explained above, lethargicness, no plan B, etc., etc. But it's just not giving us what we need. Man like George is asking, in their current form, I'm guessing he is referring to Veldan Masuras. Yes, I would rather play a winger who might not be in the best form if I'm chasing for a goal than not playing them at all. Yanamchuk isn't in good form, and he came on and he was the best player for those 10 minutes that he played. They're professional players. They're big players. Why shouldn't be playing? I disagree. He's commented again saying Yaramchuk, Velda, Masuras don't cut the mustard. I disagree. All 3 cut the mustard. I have every faith that all 3 can provide for this Olympiacos team. And all the players I think can provide for this Olympiacos team. And the only moment where I think they won't be providing is when they leave. So at this moment in time, if you have them on the bench, fucking play them. If you're chasing a goal, put your offensive players on. That's it for me. You can't be expecting Carmo to change the game offensively. That's my opinion on that. Papacanellos, there you go. Road to nothingness. He's asking about Papacanellos. Yes, play Papacanellos. Just play more offensive players. That's George is carrying on here going, Veldan professionalism is an oxymoron. Yeah, but when you put them on the pitch, this is their job, right? They have one moment where they can create something, and if they create it and they score, that's it. They've won us the game. Whereas you can't be expecting that from a defender. Road to Nothingness is asking, why not Kostulas as a winger? Willian and Martins were non-existent in the game. I liked where Kostulas played behind El Kabi. I thought he gave us that like sort of spearhead behind the striker to go at them. I think he was correct where he played. I would have kept him on and taken Martins off, then maybe put him on the wing or whatever. But I think he was fine where he played. It was the others that were the issue. And with that in mind, we've just hit 1 hour of me chatting your ear off. Thank you very, very, very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure being with you guys tonight, even though Olympiacos did not did not give us the game that we were expecting and the performance we were expecting. However, we're still in it. We have a long way to go still. 2 more European games after the Christmas break. So this will be in January. We have Porto away and Karabag at home. Hopefully we get the results necessary that see us finish in the top 24. I would be very surprised if we finish in the top 8 at this rate, but mathematically still possible. So you never know. I think we are 3 points behind 8th. Let me check. We are 2 points behind Rangers in 8th. So yeah, definitely mathematically possible. However, based on our performances, I'd be very, very surprised if we did it. But I have faith that Mendilibar is going to turn this around in Europe, and we're going to start seeing some wins. In the league, we're first. In the league, recently we've been getting good results. So hopefully, if we can get the 2 going together, then we're gonna have a good second half to the season. Let's see how it goes. But for now, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you all have a lovely festive period. We are gonna have another show before the Christmas break, but if you don't happen to be joining us on that day, then let me wish you preemptively Merry Christmas, considering we're only 13 days away. Thank you very much for joining us so far this year. And we're only going to be getting better and better with your support. So thank you very much. And thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.